Welcome back. I'm with Bill Prokop, the city manager of the city of Beaufort, and I have to say a very good one, who seems to be on top of everything. We're talking about the budget still.
Right.
And one of the biggest crunches that on the city and on all cities, as Bill was saying, is the burden of inaction within the state government to maintain their assets, which threaten the public safety and health of our people. You were talking about.
Absolutely. This morning's news that I saw on television, South Carolina, I believe, was number 6 of having the worst road and infrastructure conditions in the country. That our roads and infrastructure are so bad that we're, as I said, I believe it was number 6, it might have been number 5. That's not a good record to be on.
No.
And we've got to start to, as I said, it's not just Beaufort, but it's a problem. And if we want to create economic development, we've got to have the infrastructure. Everybody, and it's the great thing of saying, okay, we're going to get the ports, whether they're Savannah, expanding Charleston, or Jasper County. If we don't have the infrastructure for when those ships unload and the trucks start rolling, our infrastructure is not just going to be in trouble, it's going to crumble. And we've got to start facing those issues statewide.
One of the things I didn't say for those out there who don't think about this the way we do is that the state has capped our property tax.
Correct.
So even if we wanted to, even if the public was willing to pay a little more to get a little more, we can't do that.
Right.
The second thing is that they put a burden on businesses, renters, and second homes when they throw a larger percentage of the cost of funding education to houses people don't live in full-time, to businesses, and to renters, because the costs are passed on through the property owner. And it's a growing problem. When I left the legislature, they were just about ready to do the first penny sales tax in Beaufort County, and it was to widen Highway 170. And a lot of people were not happy with me because I opposed it. I wasn't opposed to widening Highway 170, but what I was opposed to is to the state that brags upon its tourism and the importance of tourism in the industry won't make the infrastructure investment that we need for tourism that they might make if they're building a factory in another county. And I said at the time, I said, if we pass this penny sales tax, if we start building state roads for the state, the burden is going to fall on us more and more and more. As it turns out, it was defeated. Second time it came up, and the arguments about public safety and the number of accidents were just so compelling, I couldn't stand on principle. Well, here we are again. We're going to be looking at a penny capital sales tax for a limited period of time to pay for specific things. But most of the things we're paying for are paving roads on Hilton Head that aren't paved, paving roads all over Beaufort County that aren't paved, bridge study about the future of the bridge to Hilton Head that brings in a gazillion dollars.
Infrastructure projects.
Infrastructure, it's all infrastructure. Now some of it, like the waterfront park extension, would normally be our responsibility.
Right.
The parking garage would be ours, but there used to be federal grants for these things as well. I mean, that's how the waterfront park was originally largely funded. But we do have a penny sales tax coming up, and it's a question about whether the people really understand that it's generally about public safety, quality of life issues. Should we be paying for them? I wish we weren't. Do we want our community to grow and prosper, to have our streets cleaner, to have a bigger, better waterfront park, which is certainly the attraction of the region that serves everybody? Yes. Do we want to finally bite the bullet and deal with a parking problem that's been with us since the 1930s? We do. I guess it's a question of how we sell it, how we explain it to the public. But if they're not looking at our budget, I'm a little,
Right.
I'm a little worried that they won't give us the time.
And it's the same in the penny sales tax. I think almost 10%, 12 million or thereabouts for the sheriff for updating our communications equipment. And if we don't pass the penny tax, that's going to be a burden on all of us as taxpayers because it has to be upgraded. So it's important that there be that balance. And I think in the future, the county has to definitely start to look at the local option sales tax so that
Wow.
we have some flexibility because, as you mentioned, our hands are tied by the state of what we can do with taxing revenue.
Right.
So it's all very, very important. And the same thing, you mentioned it, that with the new taxes that are just been passed by both the school and the county, businesses' taxes now are going to increase. And again, we're trying to get economic development going, and we're taxing the businesses that are going to create the jobs that help the economy. So we're constantly
Creating a disincentive to do
Exactly.
what we want. Well,
Yeah.
very happy that the City Council and the Redevelopment Commission is taking the lead, because I think I said this morning to a group of middle schoolers that we've probably done more towards addressing the promise of a brighter future for the young people who grow up here with the digital corridor connection with Charleston, who will mentor us and lead us through that project.
Right.
If you're really worried about property taxes, get more businesses. Broaden that base so that other people are paying taxes, but also better jobs means the housing market recovers faster, and we don't end up with this split market of only those who come here can afford certain homes, and
Right.
those who live here can only go to a certain level. But the budget, I've just read headline after headline, and it's always taxes up, taxes not going up, raise it a mill, 3 mills. People are upset about funding the school because they're angry at the superintendent. When you think about the budget, think about how you run your home. I know that's an oversimplification, but you got a certain amount of money, you've got a certain amount of obligations, and hopefully there's a difference that you have a little more money than you have obligations.
Correct.
So that you can grow and you can do that you can add on to your home, you can put more money into fixing things. But I think unless you've worked in a number of states, have a magical answer.
I don't have, and I think the other thing the public has a hard time understanding is the fact is that our hands are further tied with funds that we have. We cannot just basically most of our operations, I'll say 80, 90%, come out of our general fund where our taxes go on our business license. But yes, we have money put away for our land fund. We have money for our redevelopment. But we can't just take money out of those because those are special dedicated funds just for that purpose. A lot of people said, well, how come we're taking in and purchasing Siegel and some of these? Well, that's out of a completely different fund. And the same with Boundary Street project. People still think we're hitting the taxpayer for that cost. That's grant money, impact fees, as well as TIF $2.
And the last penny sales tax.
And the last penny sales tax, so that the taxpayer isn't being hit.
Right.
And I think it's a perfect example, Boundary Street. That project's 11 years in the making. It wasn't something that just started yesterday or last year, and that it's a city council project.
But it is going to be finished in 18 months, right?
It's going to be finished by the end of 2017. Might be carryover if the weather's bad to finish the asphalting, but we're hoping not.
And on budget and on time.
Right now, we're on budget, we're on time, and we're keeping a good watch on it, and hopefully people will see a big improvement in that project come the end of July when the new intersections working and the new mass traffic light arms are up.
Right. I think as soon as we begin to see some visible progress, we've spent $5 million, but it's all underground.
That is correct.
And so people don't really see it. In closing, I guess I would just remind the watchers that that they really ought to take a little more interest, because we are entrusted as city government with your dollars. Our goal is to first maintain your health and your safety. And then we have to take care of infrastructure, and then we have parks and all that. But remember, for every dollar that we collect every year in taxes, we can tell you, you can actually go online where we have through OpenGov.
OpenGov on our in our website in the finance department.
You can go in and see almost in a real-time basis what we're spending on everything from insurance and benefits for employees to the capital projects that we buy out of the capital projects fund. So, you know, let's have a conversation about the budget next year. Meanwhile, again, I hope you're trusting us by not complaining. We're moving forward. We thank goodness for a staff that was able to sharpen the pencil, and department heads who are willing to defer things. I will say that, and I know I'm running out of time, is that one of the needs we are meeting this within the next year is we are adding the 4 additional police officers. With the growth of commercial on Ladies Island, it's time to have a stronger presence on Ladies Island. And we also know that our neighborhoods need more attention from the officers who are out there in their cars and on the streets. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Bill.
Well, thank you for having
I hope we taught
Well, as you say, people go on our web, OpenGov gives them all the financial information, but I think the most important thing, we also have an open door. People have questions, want to come in, we're here to answer their questions. That's what we're paid for, and we're part of the community, and we want to be.
Thanks for what you do, and thanks for being here with me.
Thanks for having me.